Hi everyone, my name is Jess and I am a thriftaholic. Today we are going to go on a little adventure and I'm going to show you here in Peoria, Illinois, what I pick up versus what I leave behind. And I'm specifically going to be talking about vintage clothing. I've had a lot of questions about people wondering, what do I know to pick up? And this is what works for my business. I mainly sell vintage clothing. So let's go inside. I do have a cart. I was previously here, so I already have at least 10 items in there. I'm going to show you going hanger by hanger when I find a piece that's vintage, things that make me want to buy it versus not buy it and so forth. So hopefully this can help somebody and just see also what's in my neck of the woods. All right, come along. So this is a section of leather jackets when you first walked in. I wasn't surprised since they were in the front, as you can see by the prices. A little crazy, unless you want to wear it for yourself and you really love it. What was that one? That one's $10, not bad, but suede. And these are all older styles. I would pick them up for their older style, that Wilson's leather. I can pick up in my area for like $1 to $5, and I send them to ThredUp. So yeah, I will take a closer look at some like older 70s men's leather coats because they can be quite desirable. But there's a mink coat, however you saw it was quite damaged. So again, Sears, nothing that was worth paying $20 for there. I was just checking to see if there's a tag. Again, these are not desirable jackets in my opinion. I'm sure they could be styled to be so, but I'm not going to pay these prices. But again, throughout the other parts of the store, it's just regular priced. That's where I shop. And Stan Herman was familiar to me. I didn't look it up. Hopefully I shouldn't have. But so here we go. We're going to go back and check out the rest of the store. And I have something pretty cool to show you here in a second. So I haven't seen an old TV console like this in probably ever. As you can see, it doesn't work. Or wait, does it say it worked or not? 120. I just thought it was a cool piece. Again, it's huge. I've seen. Okay, so here is a vintage satin blouse, probably 80s, maybe early 90s. I like the colors and the print, but blouses I typically stay away from because the resale value is just not there enough. This is like a 90s Talbots. I can't do well with more substantial pieces. I love selling like their dresses, sweaters. Again, material content does matter. But this piece was just a plain pink shirt. So I passed. Now some of these cool printed blouses I'd probably pick up at the bins and sell for like $25, $30, like this one. This was more of a muted tone. If the colors were a little bit more vibrant, I would have picked it up. However, did you see that was silk? I'm not going to pay $4 because I would sell it for maybe $30, $35. And I just didn't feel like it. I do love the print, but again, this one is vintage, but the style just wasn't there for me. Tanjay, they have different lines. I liked the color combo, but again, the cardigan just wasn't there for me. This one was also a novelty print, but it was a button down. Again, Liz Claiborne. The resale value just isn't there. I wouldn't even pick it up at the bins anymore. It would sell for maybe $20. This is also another vintage piece. However, it's more like, I don't want to say, it's not a trendy piece in my opinion due to the color. The gold just makes it too formal, I believe, for somebody now to wear it. This piece is something that I've been mistaken for, where I bought something online from somebody and they said it was vintage and it wasn't. It was a reproduction, and this is like the cheapest material. You can tell by the feel, the stitching, and obviously the tag. So key factors, and then also interior stitching as well, as I will show you in a second, I believe. Yeah, see that? These are modern, cheap clothing. This vest is super cute, heavy embroidery. Again, who's that from? Oh, it focuses in a second. Made in India. A lot of people love their cotton made in India. It was pretty, but again, I think it was $4, and I could probably sell it for $25. So I decided to pass. Plus the back was plain. Here This print also wasn't doing it for me. I do like the color combo, but it doesn't fit the vintage that I typically pick up to flip. This next piece looked washed out. It was not washed out, but it's just a plain black cardigan. It is probably from the 90s. It's acrylic. There's not much to sell on it besides it's an extra large. Here is a wool cardigan by Tally Ho, which is a vintage brand. This is a 3X 100% wool. Carefully check for moth holes, as that is a common issue with wool. However, I have had a hard time selling this in the past. It is a plain color, so I passed. Just flipping through, and here I did find a couple from this brand, but they just didn't stand out enough to me, and they didn't have that like vintage feel. They were a thinner knit Rami cotton blend. Alright, so we are a few days later, and I'm going to show you items that I did pick up and why I picked them up. So let's get started. And this is from two thrift stores. Don't think I found this on one thrift. And I hadn't been to these, well, the one thrift store that I showed you for like a year. So just keep that in mind. Okay, I do well with sleepwear, especially robes and terry cloth. So terry cloth is this textured material. It feels like a towel. This is a really nice mustard yellow. And what's interesting about this robe is that it's a button front. Most that I see have a tie. The lighting was not that great, so I decided to just show you guys all the details of the garments in person with like a haul. So again, this is long, which is also more so desirable. And the tag is right here. Robes of California. It's a pretty generic tag. This is faded. This is not super old. I'm going to say 80s. Maybe 70s because of the color, but I think robes were like $3. And yes, I'm filming in my room. Okay. That is not vintage. I'm strictly showing you only vintage. I do pick up some modern pieces. A lot of it I just send into ThredUp, but sometimes I just feel like sprinkling in some modern. All right, I found some vintage rubber boots for the snow. These are Sherpa or Shirling lined, and these are actual rubber or vinyl actually. Do you see? They're vinyl, so they're easy to clean, great for the winter, and they have the rubber sole. It says waterproof 7, made in the USA. I don't know if it'll focus enough for you guys. Yeah, there you go. And what I loved about these is that the condition was immaculate. There is slight scuff marks right there, but I think I can buff those out. And something that I also loved about these is that there's still the tag, which is like just a sticker on the inside liner. So do you see that? That's amazing. I haven't checked comps, but with vintage, I typically don't check comps. And even if you do check comps, you will find out that a lot of people undervalue and underprice their vintage. So I always aim high, and obviously something is working because I love selling vintage. After my haul, I'm going to go over some of my recent solds and show you guys things that are selling. So I always love this time of year because sweaters just sell so fast and they're all the rage right now. So that last place I went to, somebody had donated tons of plus size clothing that they originally got from like QVC, and one of those lines is Quacker Factory. This I believe is from 90s, maybe Y2K, but I always look and have great success with Rami blend sweaters. So it's usually about half Rami, half cotton. And this one is black, heavily embroidered floral print. And these typically do really well for me. I sell them between $30 to $60. It depends what is on them. Obviously, the more interesting piece, the higher the resale value. So I do not go by brand, almost never. Size, obviously bigger sizes generally sell better, but I sell extra smalls all the time. You guys know vintage, how that works. So This, I believe, was very popular on QVC back in the day. But this is not very old. I've been selling tons of like 80s and 90s. I do sell 70s, but the style is more like hostess dresses, prairie, more formal attire. So, okay. So that one, I think I paid $4 for. This next one I picked up not just because of the print. So Argyle preppy, like golf sweaters, dad sweaters, do well, but I also picked this up based off of material content. And yes, I live by trains. This is silk. It's a knit woven silk. It is made in China, but don't be discouraged because a lot of stuff came from China, like starting in the 90s, even earlier than that, but it was common for that in the 90s. So don't let made in China discourage you from picking an item up. Okay, so there's a nice preppy dad sweater. And all of these words that I'm using to describe these items, I put in my title and my description. So I don't put the brand, if it's good material, like silk, wool, Angora, all of that, cashmere, I definitely put in the title. Again, don't put the brand. Another tip really quick before I show you the rest is when I'm going through stuff, people are not putting their vintage clothing items for eBay specifically under vintage clothing. It's a special category, and if you start from scratch and not do a self-similar, it will more than not put your clothing in a modern clothing category instead of the vintage. So when people are filtering on eBay vintage clothing, they will select vintage, so your item will not pop up if it's not in the right category. So always double check that. That's totally a rookie mistake. I was going back through my old listings from like 9 months ago, and some of my stuff I was surprised that it hadn't sold yet, so I went and looked. It was in the wrong category, like duh. So okay, the next item, love 80s 90s Liz Claiborne. This one is really nice scene. Nature scenes always do super well. It's a knit, is it like cabin, and for this I'll say like cabin core, nature, trees, mountains. Is mountain right? Yeah, okay. So this is embroidered. This is knitted by hand, which is also something that the people look for. There we go. And what makes this interesting is it's double-sided. There's also a reindeer, or not a reindeer, but there's another one that's like a reindeer. It's on the Polar Express, and I'm blanking. You can put the comments down below. Okay. And next, and somebody just donated. I don't know if somebody passed away, or hopefully they lost weight or something. They just wanted to clean out the closet, but I picked up pretty much every single sweater. I did have to be selective, and I think I showed in a previous clip that I passed on like a sweater with grapes on it just because it wasn't quite there. But another cardigan that is like Easter, I don't even know what it says. Like I said, I was just grabbing really quick because I was in a time crunch the first time I went to this thrift, and then I had to go back to check out. So I did take a closer look at items. Kindness, faith, peace, patience. Okay, I'm like, wait, what's that say? Patience. Okay. And it has all these cute shaped trees. Star, is that a duck? Crescent moon, and just the typical circle. So this is, again, Quaker Factory. I typically pick up Quaker Factory if it's like a bold, loud print. They do make stuff with like rhinestones and whatnot. It does okay. The solid basics I pass, but all of this stuff I'm telling you works for my business. It may not work for yours. Again, I'm in Central Illinois. The stuff I'm showing you specifically today is from Peoria. I don't have to travel far to get great stuff. Okay, so this one, this Aztec print is absolutely amazing. It is a cardigan, again, plus size. This is hand knit locally here in Peoria at a local crafter's place, and it is called Storybook Knits. I picked up a few of these. The quality on this is timeless. This will last forever as long as it's properly laundered. The colors are gorgeous. The print is gorgeous. And again, this is a 3X, probably 90s. It is Rami cotton blend. A lot of these I don't think were ever worn. A lot of them in the store were new a tag. And again, I didn't pick up everything. I had to be selective. And yeah, I mean, pattern, size, condition. I do look at condition. If it is a desirable print, then yes, I will sweater shave. It's like kind of therapeutic to me. It doesn't matter if there's like a missing button or a small blemish. It doesn't deter me from it as long as I know the profit is there. So for my business model, as I've probably stated before, I want to confidently be able to sell something for at least $30. And of course, the cost of goods always comes into play. I typically don't like to spend more than $5, but I will show you something that I didn't realize was considered formal, and I did pay $12 for it, so I'm hoping it will go for over $100. Okay, there's my receipt that I do not want to lose for taxes. This one, I always do really well with denim jackets, chambray, but this is a denim jacket, shirt jacket. Again, somebody donated, all from the same person. This is a 3X, another Quaker Factory. This is nicely embroidered and beaded. It is floral. The colors are absolutely gorgeous. This is in like new condition. I didn't see any flaws. And there's also like a beaded dragonfly. Really nice quality. And yes, so I had to pick that up based off of the embroidery, the condition, the size, and it's denim. Like, denim is so hot right now. It's always been hot, right? I'm filming this on Christmas during my kids' nap time. And let me just say, I stayed up late. I got up early. I'm tired. When I was tucking my 4-year-old in, I actually fell asleep with him. So that lets you know that I'm tired. Now this piece, luckily she charged me like $4, maybe $5 because it's like almost formal. But this is an overcoat that I think might go with the dress I will show you that I did pay up for a little bit. I have one similar to this that's been in my death pile for, gosh, like a year, maybe even a year and a half, because there's a flaw in it and I thought I could fix it, but I'm just going to sell it as is. So it's this really nice satin floral, like Asian cherry blossom print. It is full length and it has these big fabric covered buttons. Now, I think it originally had a fur collar, or maybe not fur, but a snap-in collar that has been removed. Unless it clips to the dress. I will have to check that later when we show you the dress. But there are no interior tags, so I always check inside the liner to make sure it's not ripped. I always look at the seams because liners, I can't stitch up like fabrics, like polyester, acetate. I'll try fabric glue if I really, am ambitious, but nice satin interior as well. It feels like polyester. And at first I questioned if this was vintage, but I think just because the seams are so clean, but it was just very well made. So I'm confident to say that this is vintage. And there is a few like faint watermarks on the back, but that was not enough to deter me to not get it. Now if there's like burn marks from like cigarettes, because back in the day people smoked a lot, and I typically pass on items that have cigarette burns in them because that's just gross. There's another modern piece. Alright, so now I'm going to show you the gown that may or may not go with this dress. Maybe not. Okay, so here is the other piece that is, I paid $12 for. It's a formal gown, has an empire. Oh wait, no, I thought it was empire waist, but not quite. So this is an amazing size. Typically, vintage runs smaller because back in the day, Americans were skinnier. The average size was like, I can't even remember. And now, I think the average size is 12. Women's 12, maybe it's even a women's 16. I can't remember. I'm sure it changes from year to year. But I saw it from the back, and I always check the zippers. The zippers can always help date items. This is a metal zipper. So see that? It's cold to the touch. It's metal. Good tip there. If you can't decide if it's nylon versus metal. So yeah, this has a nice chiffon overlay that is gathered at the waistline. It's very flowy, floor length. This is a little bit dressier, I think, than a hostess dress. I'm going to call this probably cocktail. Maybe hostess. I'm not unsure. So heavy beading, metallic material on top. Chiffon underneath. There are, now that I'm inspecting it closer, do you see these black spots? The rhinestone has come out. It can be repaired, but I was not inspecting this close enough because I would say 15% of these stones are missing, which will decrease its value. But the beading is in a fan floral like pattern. I don't know if you guys, if it's picking up on film, but it is absolutely stunning. And a lot of times with these delicate fabrics, okay, so this is not chiffon. This is nylon, I think. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell, especially when it doesn't tell you, but gorgeous. Like, I don't see snags or runs in this because it's a delicate fabric. But then I will show you the inside seams. So here we have, do you see this? I forget the name of it, but that's what they used to do to help prevent fraying of the material. That's also a very good indicator to help date vintage clothing. So anyways, yes, I paid $12 for that, and it might have been a mistake because of the beading. I don't know. I'll hold out for that. When I do pay up for items, I typically will wait longer for the right buyer to come along. Okay. This next piece is also another denim jacket from the 90s. It's by Indigo Moon. I typically see similar styles because it's from the 90s, and I do pick up this brand, 3X. Not always. There's always an exception, right? So size, condition, color, patchwork is so cool. Love the colors. Very detailed. And it's heavily patchworked on the front. Okay, so this is the back. And then here's the front. It's very like artsy. Very artsy. Like new condition. I think that jacket might have been $5. I'm not sure. I have my receipt right here. Total I spent was $65 at that place that I got all those knits. So yeah, I think that jacket was $5 and the sweaters were all $4. All right, this one I love. I love finding sweaters with novelty prints / fruit, food. Really? This is amazing, and this is more of like a chunkier knit, which typically do better. This would have been great for the fall. It's got a bunch of apples on it. Okay, I'm trying to think if this is a pumpkin, or I can't decide because pumpkins typically don't have. Regardless, it is hand knit by Quaker Factory. It is 3X. It's Rami cotton. All these factors, great. I will pick up sweaters if there's like snags in them, because I have a tool that I simply just push the snag back through. As long as it's not major. Like if it's major, then obviously I pass. But okay, so there's one box. I think this is the other place, the first place I went to. I got this. It's an 80s crew neck sweatshirt. It's interesting because it's a vertical rib, or I'm sorry, horizontal rib, and typically you see them going up and down. So, but I like the style. It is still very white. It's in great condition, but I also liked the patch for London, Paris, Tokyo. This would be great for travel, like somebody that loves to travel. I will show you the tag. This is made for a man back in the day, but totally unisex. It was tagged as a large. Made in Korea, which is an indicator. Korea, Hong Kong. Taiwan vintage. I do really well with kids. Oshkosh. If you follow me on Instagram, my username is Thrifting is my beach, just like my channel name. And I do well with vintage Oshkosh. So here we have Oshkosh Bagosh. This is a 2T. It is flannel cotton. This one is made in Sri Lanka. I do really well with the ones made in the USA, but Sri Lanka is still just as well. It's like a nice pastel plaid shirt dress. Cute. It's like a pinafore actually. But kids' clothes were like $1 there. Pretty cheap. Next piece, dear to my heart. Barney Sweatshirt. I wish this was an adult. Unfortunately, it's not. It's dated from 1992. It's a 3T. Now, it's white. The child must have not worn this or didn't eat in it because it's in great shape. So, there's the tag. Made in the USA. The screen print is still really well. It's not, the graphic isn't cracking. It's great. Yeah, the lion's group. And it even has glitter still like all over the graphic. If you see that. Very nice. I'm guessing I saw really well with like nostalgia kids clothes on Etsy. So I don't know what I'm listing that at yet. But is that it? No, I have a bag behind me. Okay. Just a few more to go and then I'm going to show you my sales. So thanks for sticking with me. This is a little bit of a longer video. Okay, so here we have another plus size Rami cotton sweater. Okay, so yes, this is Stitches in Time. I'm not familiar with the brand, but again, it's plus size Rami cotton and nice print cardigan. Yeah, very, is it like fall? I can't tell. It's got some weight, almost like Fair Isle print going on, and like a harvest. No, those are leaves. See, I can't even tell. I don't even know what I'm picking up, guys. I just see the knit and I grabbed it. So yeah, this is probably more like fall themed, but it's just, you know, the Rami cotton, and again, condition, it's great. So this one is also from the local knitting craft place. That is Storybook Knits. Or no, I'm sorry. For some reason, okay, I misinformed you. Storybook Knits is actually through QVC. I thought it was distributed locally in Peoria, but this one says Home Shopping Network. So not QVC, Home Shopping Network. Same thing though. Infomercial. Again, I believe this is new without tags, but it's just a sequence beaded cardigan. Beach themed. This will do so well. This will probably sell really fast with this really, I forget the name of this open knit in the sleeves. Gorgeous. Somebody out there is going to love this. So yeah. Little boy and girl, two girl. I can't tell. It's reflecting funny. But, and then on the back it also has like a little bucket and shovel for the sand. So those are the items, the vintage items I picked up to resell. I probably spent $70 on just the vintage items. There are a few modern pieces. But now I'm going to show you, I'll put pictures up in the corner of the vintage items that have sold for me in the last few weeks. Oh, sorry, I'm sitting on my floor right now. I'm regretting that decision. I'm quite pregnant at this point, so. Okay. The first one we'll do, we just sold, let me get situated. Oh, sorry, I just get uncomfortable. Recently sold through eBay to a New York City fashion designer. So that was fun. It was, and I still have it because it will be shipping out tomorrow, but a hostess, well, maybe not hostess, I don't remember what I categorized this one at, like a 1970s floral peacock print gown. It was gorgeous. However, and I just recently got it a few weeks ago, it sold in 9 days, but there were flaws on the beading on the sleeve. It was heavily beaded in certain places. I disclosed all the flaws with pictures, and it sold for $150. I bought the dress for $6, and I turned that into $150 in 9 days. So the next one was a Victorian style dress. Now I say style because it's not actually Victorian, but like in the 80s they redid like some of like the 1930s styles with the big collars and like the drop waist and all that stuff. So it was like an 80s to 30s Victorian green dress. I had it for sale for, this one took 4 months, but I did sell it for $100. I could have sold it quicker for $75, but like I said, I waited it out and I sold it for $100. The next one is not a dress. I sell other things as well. Champion, the brand Champion. Very popular today. It's been popular for a long time, but something that you want to put in your Bolo list that I'm sure you're aware of, but in case you haven't heard, Champion reverse weave, it's actually written on the tag, which should help you identify it, is a very desirable sweatshirt. So what makes it so desirable is that there's extra material, like ribbed material on the sides that gives you a little bit more movement. And as you know, the vintage Champion is like that stick, that thick, sturdy, like cotton, like it's durable, and people love it. So I picked one up, and I was actually had embroidery on it for some company up in Milwaukee. People don't care. Now this was in really nice condition. I think I just washed it. Like I don't know that anybody had worn it. And it sold in 2 weeks for $60, and I think I paid $4. So yeah. And then the last one I'll show you is a sweater. This one did take 3.5 months to sell, but it just goes to show you some of the, if you sit and wait on your item, you can get higher dollar for it. So this one did take 3.5 months, and sometimes my vintage takes up to a year. But this sweater was a linen knit, oh, that did not sound good, with Angora. And it was a pattern, it was like a faux wrap. It was really pretty. There was a flaw on it, like some slight discoloration. Again, I just disclosed it. And it sold for $75, and I think I got it for maybe, I paid up to $5. But I'll put all the pictures up in the corner for you. So again, not the brand. It's about the style, the material content, the print. As far as what to look for, it's the tags. I mean, you just have to know vintage tags look for. Like I hold up and show you the tags. Keep that in your brain. Be like, okay, that's vintage. That's not vintage. Or like go on other YouTube channels. There's great, I've learned a lot through YouTube, obviously. There's great resources out there, but you just have to put in the time and learn for yourself. So I hope this helped you guys, or was like entertaining, or maybe you just like to wear vintage yourself. And I guess I'll just catch you on my next video. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.